Alright, so it's something like this. We add weapon. It will increase to the sides. Yeah, I guess the side is better. It's big still, so it's occupying a big portion of the screen. Hello and welcome back. So this is so basically last video we made it to where we can have inventory, we can have weapons, and then we can let's see, we'll equip those weapons, right? But as you can see, we don't have any UI, so we are going to do this next step. So we are going to add the UI for inventory. Also, we are going to make a 8D movement. Also, we are making a shooting ability for each weapon. So let me just repeat this again. So we are making a game from scratch. The game will be called Survive the Road. The logic is pretty simple and straightforward. You make you have to pass a road and you have to survive punishing enemies, which is real life and very sensitive enemies, and we are going to use Unreal Engine and C++ for this. Last videos we had a project setup, gas integration, adding weapon system, animation, and some weapon logics. This time we are going to go and do some improvement for the weapons. The first one I want to make is the weapons UI, so we know basically what UI we have, what weapons we have in the inventory, and also shooting ability for the weapons and 8D movements. So this is the goal for today. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some UI then, right? So the first thing, I'm going to go to my content, UI, policy. I made a folder called UI. I'm going to get back to this UI and policy. For now, we are not going to use common UI, so just regular UI, right? So it will be pretty straightforward. So the first thing we want is basically a game layout. So I want a widget blueprint, and then the name will be, I can call this main or just HUD, still works. If I open this, you see now this is my canvas. I can have a canvas, or you can just have an overlay, which for our case it will do the same thing, so we don't have to worry about other things. Okay, cool. So I want in this part of the screen, actually we can go ahead and do some design here in Miro. Frame, keynote. Actually, I prefer Figma. While we are waiting for this, so we basically want a section for the weapon inventory, right? So I'm going to, in my main UI folder, I'm going to make another folder. I'm going to call this weapons. In the weapons, I'm going to have another widgets called W underscore weapon underscore inventory. And the inventory is going to hold all of the weapons, so we eventually need another one for each individual weapon. So this one will be widget weapon. Let's call this weapon slot. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just make a very simple inventory. I just like it to be vertical for now. Okay, so that's very cool. So we need something like maybe you can have this also in black. Same for the names. Doesn't that make much sense now? Yes. So basically, this is the inventory system we want to make. So in order to make this, we have to remember several things. So back, reduce the opacity. So this is what we are making. So this is the main HUD. This is the main screen. That's why we have something called widget blueprint HUD, right? And then we want a section that manages all of the weapon slots, right? So that one is just basically is this one, weapon inventory. And then each of this weapon is represented by a slot, as you can see. This is what the weapon slot is about. So that's why we have three separate classes. So first, let's just get these three things exported so we can use them in Unreal Engine. The size differs a bit. In the weapons section, you can make, or just inside the UI, you can make a folder called assets, weapons, and then export these three. When you export them, select all, go to asset action, bulk edit via matrix property, go to level of detail, change from world to UI, and then Control S. So they're now more of a UI thing, right? That's very good. Now you can go back to each of your weapons, and let's go to the normal one. Remember, we added a texture 2D here, but as you can see, it's not the correct way of selecting this because it's sort of a class instead of the object. So that's something we did wrong, actually. Let's go back to weapons, data, open data.h, scroll down. You see you're using the subclass of texture 2D, which is not what we want, but we want a T soft object PDR. So basically, soft objects are objects that are not loaded into memory unless needed. So this is very, very handy for stuff like this, that you don't necessarily need them to be loaded when the data asset is loaded. So in other words, when you load this data, this texture will not be used or be loaded until you explicitly tell it to basically, hey, load yourself, which is good. Now here we can just restart. So in Unreal Engine we can make most of these things. So the only thing we need to take with ourselves is just the weapon. It's just the weapon images. The rest can be fine. This should basically be pistol. Just move it a bit up. This can be rifle. Same with this one. And just call this normal. Okay, yep. So this is the inventory we are going to make. Let's go to the weapon. Now in the display image for the normal, we are going to just select the fist. For the pistol, we are just going to select pistol. Remember, we added display name, so make sure you also populate this. So this name is basically going to be this. Okay, get back to normal, and for the rifle, Okay, so now we have the data, and then all we need is to make sure the UI is listens to these changes and displays them, right? So let's first go ahead and make one individual slot, which basically is name, ammo count, and so on. So this one basically. What we want to make is this thing. Let's make one of these. So the first thing is the size. So we can have a size box. So we can predefine the size. Go here into the screen size to the desired. You see it's getting very small, so it's time to go here. Let's just see what is the size here. Just for the ratio, I mean. So it's 260 by, we can just adjust this to be to 100 actually. Yep, so it's good. So 260 to 100 for the height. 260, 100. So this is the correct size. We need an image, so we need an overlay because we have several other stuff on top of the image. So an overlay and then an image. The image is filling the screen, and then we need some modifications here. So we go to the brush, we make sure the tint is just like the one we have here with a low opacity, something like 0.4, maybe even 0.3. Then we go to the draw as to, if you change this to border, it will be only the border. So we say a rounded box, so it will be fully rounded like this. But we come down here to fix a radius, and then no. Then we select the corners for each side. Let's say 2 or maybe 22. It's too much. 10 is just 15. 15 is fine. Okay, now we need also to have outline. So the outline is going to be fully white and fully opaque. And maybe we want some widths for this. So we get something similar to what we have here. The difference is, I guess, the opacity. Yeah, it's about color and opacity. I think the colors are matching for the most part. Wait a second. Okay, yeah, we need the opacity to be 0.4. Okay, now we have a nice border for the weapon. Okay, now we have a nice border. Now let's go ahead and add the image. So we can call this BG standing for backgrounds. Another image. We're going to put it here in the center, and we're going to call this weapon image. We want this weapon image to be basically in the center, but we want to make sure it's fitting to a scale, so we have to wrap this with a size box first. The size box is going to fill the screen, that's something, and then this weapon image is going to be wrapped with a scale box, which makes sure the image is scaling to fit the entire space without stretching to any side. Now let's just have the fist here. So you can see the fist is sitting in the center, and I can easily have border to this. Okay, here in the padding. So let's say 20. See, 10 is fine for me. Let's go 12. Yep. No, I think it's still big enough. Or maybe we allow to the top. Let's turn the top to 0, so it's something like this. Let's actually do it 0 for all, top 0, but the bottom we can have 20, so we have some space for the text. Or I mean, we can have this text, call this image parent. We can have this wrapped with a vertical box, and then we can have a text, and then the text is going to be bottom part of it. And then we call fill here, so make sure we fill all of the spaces. 12, the center, some padding from the bottom. Yep, I think this is very good. Now the color. Let's actually have some padding on the top too, so it's more of something like this. Okay, let's make sure these two are promoted to variables. Same for this one, weapon name. And we also need something for the ammo count, but we haven't managed the ammo count, so we cannot do much about that for now. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. Okay, so we need several informations here in order to make this work. So let's first, we have the slot, and let's go back to the inventory and let's make the inventory, right? So same, we are going to have this time we're going to start with a vertical box. This is going to be a desired size again. Missing that thing. Okay, gonna go desired, and we are going to wrap this with a size box. The parent size box is going to have a width of 300. You remember this one has a 216, so 260, and this one going to be have this, but we are not overriding the height. The reason is we are going to basically scale this based on the weapons. So we need a text here. The text is going to sit on the top, just like what do you see here, this weapons. It will be in the center. The size is going to be, let's say 70 is fine. Black. Okay. And we need the entire size box wrapped by a image, actually an overlay, because you cannot have the image that way, so we put the image in the background. The image cannot hold a child or have a children or something. So because I am just lazy, so I'm just going to copy and paste this background settings for the brush and paste it here, because this is possible, so we get the same settings directly here without making it again, which is good. Let's have some padding here, 3. Alright, so this will be basically the text, and under this the possible weapons. Right, so we have this vertical box, and inside this vertical box we have another vertical box. this vertical box is just going to hold list of weapon slots. Let's just add one by default, and let's see what we are missing here. So the first thing we are missing, we don't want this to be filled in the side, so we get this nice padding here. And also we want some padding around this vertical box. So we don't want it from the sides, but we want it from the top and bottom. So we can go 0 and 20. So we get something like this. And now when I add more of these, you see they will just basically fill the space. But we need some padding for them. So we can get back here, select the root, and then type in padding. You see this, so this is the widget. So this means apply this padding for the widget when you add it to things like vertical box. So we want 0 in the x in the x or in the horizontal direction, but we want in the let's say, in fact we only want it in the bottom, not on top. So bottom 10. So now if I remove these and add them again, you see they have this nice spacing. So it just looks good. So we kinda, I guess the size is a bit more, 300, it just feels like, reduce 20, yep, this is good. Let's go to the vertical box. 20 is too much, let's go for 10. Yes, so we get something like this, but the thing is we need to populate this whenever the number of the weapons are changing. So whenever the inventory changes, we need to update this. And that's basically the delegates we need for the communication. We need some delegates in the weapon manager component so we can listen to and we can know basically what weapon are changing and what is the change that's happening for that or for any weapon. Okay, so first let's go ahead and do something. So all right, let's first get back to C++. Let's just save this. Okay, actually let's first spawn this to the UI. So I'm going to get back to my HUD. In my overlay made for the widget blueprint, I'm going to just add weapon inventory here. The weapon inventory is something you can put it anywhere. I want it to be down here, but you see I need some padding here. So I'm going to just add 20 as padding, which might be big for the entire screen. Let's just add this to our UI when you play, because when we play now there's nothing. Let's go to core player controller, and in the begin play, or actually when we possess some pound, we can just go ahead and add a custom event, add UI. Let's just keep it simple for now. So add UI is going to just create a widget. The widget is widget blueprint main, or just HUD. Owning is just self, and then add to viewports. That's it. So now when I play, I have this nice little UI here. I'm thinking this scale is too big. Let's just quickly scale them down, because yeah, let's just go ahead and go to inventory. There should be weapons. So let's scale everything down a bit. So let's go 15. Each weapon slots, we're going to reduce the size Let's subtract this by 40. Same for this, subtract by 30. Plus 10. Yep, this is good to me. Let's go 200 actually here. Same, yeah, let's keep the text. In the inventory, I'm gonna just remove and add them again. This is also pretty big. Okay, yeah, I guess this is good now. Yeah, it's good. This is not correct though. The spacing down here is just too much. Let's actually just remove this padding we added. Let's add 5 here. So there's kind of even spacing. Yeah, looks good to me. Alright, now we have this very simple UI, and now let's make sure this. No, there's no connection between the weapons and the UI. I mean, no matter what, the UI is not responding. Let's get back to the weapon manager component and let's make several of these. So the first one we are going to make is F on weapon inventory changed. F on inventory changed. This is basically when the number of the inventory weapons are changing. So the number of slots are fixed. This is something you have to remember. So let's say we have maximum of 4 slots. So 1, 2, 3. Let's say for now we make it to where you only have 3. So number of yeah, remember we set the slot to 4. So let's actually go back here, add 1 more slot, so we have 4 slots. So it will be something like this. But for any slot that is empty right now, we just want to hide its widget. So that's what we are going to do. Let's go back here on weapon inventory change delegate. Okay, what we would need to broadcast here is basically the slot manager. We can just broadcast the slot manager or list of the slots we have. Because in C++, this is all we get. None of these functions are accessible basically. Okay, so this will basically broadcast a T array of F weapon slot. It will be a const reference for the weapon data. Weapon slots. We can make this a bit yeah, let's just keep it this way. So this is going to broadcast, not sure if this is even allowed. I'm going to just try. I think the array is not allowed. On weapon inventory change it delegate. Yeah, so we made this blueprint accessible, so there is no reason to pass an array. when we can technically just pass the object itself. So yeah, let's just do weapon manager itself. And we need to broadcast this whenever we add a weapon or we remove a weapon, right? So let's say we add a weapon. This is when the adding weapon is successful. Forgot to add this. Dot broadcast weapon slot manager. Okay, so now we are broadcasting the slot manager whenever the slot's changing. What is this? Okay. Whenever the slots are changing. And we need the same thing when we remove a weapon. So when we successfully remove a weapon, we broadcast this and return true. Otherwise, return false. Okay, yeah, I guess this is fine, but we are missing something because you basically need the UI to know which weapon is basically active right now. Let's say for our case, we just make it to where it's fully white. So, you know, hey, this weapon is active basically. And that's how you know this weapon is active. And we need the slots to basically know if they are active or not. So let's add that weapon. Let's first get back to weapon slot.h. Let's add another variable here. A U property blueprint accessible. Bool B is active equals false. So I'm thinking we actually can do something here, like checking the ability inside the owner ability system component, but we can just have a setter function and a getter function. Set active float, bool be active. Okay, yeah, so we have a setter for this, so we can set it or remove it later. Now, let's add another function to the slot manager. Void set active weapon. So set active weapon is basically going to be called by the owner ability. We want this to be called by when a weapon is active, so we are going to call, hey, we are active. And when we are deactivating ourselves, or when we are ending, we send another message. We say, hey, we are deactivated. Just be aware of that. So we want a function like this that basically takes in the subclass of the owning ability class. And one set the active weapon. I think that will be fine. So this is basically what we are going to call and say, hey, this weapon is active, and hey, this weapon is no longer active. So set active weapon, set deactive weapon is basically the names we are going to use. So when an ability is about to activate itself, that is where we are going to iterate over all of the slots. And when we reach the slot we want, we go to the slot and we say, hey, dot set active. Okay, slot. Set active. Okay, it's a const. We don't want a const. Set active false. Okay, set active true, because this is when we want to activate also. Just notice we are passing this by reference, so it's going to modify the original data. Here, I am just going to loop over this and set active to false. So we are doing this if only this thing is occupied. So if it's not occupied, we are no longer going to even worry about the activation or not. So in set active, we can have another check here. Is occupied. If true, then we are just modifying this. Otherwise, we can just say it's false, no matter what. If it's not occupied, then it will never be active. So set deactive. Should I have this as capital A? Deactive. Well, I don't think that's correct. But anyway, now we have set active and set deactive. We want the same functions here in the weapon manager component. So the abilities will call when they are activated or they are no longer activated. So void on ability on weapon activated. Void on weapon deactivated. Again, this will going to come from the ability class. On deactivated, we are going to just call slot manager dot deactivation. Set weapon, set deactivate weapon. Weapon activation class. Here we are going to call. Yeah, now more I'm thinking of this, we need a boolean coming out of this, so we know if the changing is happening or not. Bool. So we're going to say if true, set activate weapon. So if it's true, then we want to broadcast the delegate again on weapon inventory, change it delegate. The delegate, nope. Dot broadcast slot manager. Okay, so now anytime the anytime we change, we add a weapon, we remove a weapon, or we activate a weapon, we are notified. I forgot, we also need to call those functions here. So ability system component weapon manager. Whoa, why is this called ability system component? It should be weapon manager component. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, anyways, so when the ability is ending, we just going to say if it's valid, then this send a message and say on weapon deactivated and pass in this. Make sure you say get class. You technically don't need that as well. And here we want to notify when we start dot this one will be on weapon activated get class. So we are notifying when we start and when we end. Is valid is better to be used, to be honest, instead of raw pointers. Alright, so we are notifying the system that when we start and when we end, basically. Now let's get back to the UI. Let's run this in the engine. Okay, let's get back to the UI weapon. Let's go to the inventory. Okay, first let's promote this to a variable. Let's call this weapons list. Weapon list local variable. Alright, so in the construction, so basically construct is called like a begin play. Begin construct is like the constructor script for blueprint classes. It's going to run in the editor. We don't need that. So the first thing we need to know is to access the weapon manager component, right? So first thing happens here, I'm going to we can get the owner, which is the player controller, and then get the pound, and then get the our player. But for now, I know my player is going to be local like get player character will return mine, so I don't bother other things. So I'm going to get class out of this. Sorry, get component by class. The class is going to be weapon manager. Weapon manager component, because this is what we are trying to listen to. We're checking if it is valid. Nope. Is valid the macro? If it is valid, then we are just promoting this to a variable. Weapon manager component. Okay, so now from the weapon manager component, we need the slots. Hopefully we have get default slot. Okay, it's not promoted, which is a bad news. Weapon manager component, the slot is private, so we are making it pro. Actually, let's make a getter for it. Is it not better? F weapon slots copy. We don't pass this. It's just a copy. Get slot manager. Just going to return slot manager. What is this? Okay, this is F slots manager. This is a capital M. And we make this U function. Blueprint pure. Let's get back here to the graph. Then we can say get slots. You see, get slot manager is a pure function. We can break this and we get the list of slots. We can break this. We can break each element and we get two things, the data and if it's active or not, which is pretty handy, right? That's something we will definitely need. Now, let's make another function, custom event, generate slots. So the generate slots is going to basically generate this list in the runtime, so which is what we want, right? Let's basically call this function after we are done here. Generate slots is going to have some parameters, which is going to be the list of slots. Get slot manager and break. This is the list of slots. So you can just go ahead and do this, but you can be lazy like me and to type a function. You see now this is something, it will make it for you. So it's easier to make those kind of. Now we have an array of slots here, and now let's generate them, right? What is this? Okay, so we have this weapons list. First, we need to make sure it's empty. Anytime we can have a system that basically goes over them and then only removes them. But no, I'm just going to just clear children. So this means we will remove anything we have inside the slot whenever the inventory is changing. And then we are going to regenerate this all over again. Okay, this is passed by reference. Yeah, it's array. So we're going to run a for loop. And for each of these elements, we are going to create a widget. This widget is going to be of type open slot, just like each of these. Widget weapon underscore weapon slot. We don't really need this, but you can get player controller if you want to, because this is something you can access it there too. And now when we made them, we want to say, hey, this is your data. What is the data? It's basically the slot data, right? So that's why we need to get back here, and then we need a function. The function will be set data. Set data will take in a slot data, which is weapon slot. Slot data. Okay, slot data. It just basically, we are going to call this slot data. So we call the function set data. The set data will take in the slot data. When we have the data and everything is ready, we can get the weapons list and then add children to vertical box. Then we can add this. I like to have a nice patterns here. Okay. So this is going to basically clear up the children. This is not a right way to do this, to be honest, but I just don't want to spend so much time making another basically iterate over each weapon we currently have and then just update the data. If we don't have that weapon, just remove it, rearrange them. That's the right way to do it. This is the more time, that's the more time consuming one. So I'm just removing it, regenerating it. So we only have 4 weapons, so I guess that's fine. Okay, so we are going over this. What the hell is your problem, bro? No value will be returned by reference parameter slots node. I never asked you for any return. What do you mean? What the hell is this? Anyway, I don't know why is this showing this message, to be honest. Dead slots. I don't know what the hell is going on. Okay, so this is going to basically listen to the data we have and going to populate the data. Now, if I play, we have weapons, it is empty, which is strange. Let's see what is going on. Creating the widgets, adding the widget. Clear is working because the currently, because this is going to be removed, and then the for each is maybe not working. Maybe we are calling this in the wrong time. Remember, in the begin play, this is basically just null. So the event contract, let's just delay this actually. Just delay this 3 seconds. So we are sure that the begin play is called on weapon manager component, because we only, where's the begin play? Because we are adding the first weapon and initializing the slot in the begin play. So this can be running even before that. So let's delay this, wait some time. It's not calling it. What? Why? Okay, sorry. So here's the problem. So let me just prove something. Hopefully right. So let's just remove the number of slots to 1, 2, 3. But if we play, I'm thinking it will be 4. Right? You see, one of them is increasing and it becomes 4. But why is that? I mean, we only have the fist, but we have 4 slots now. So the reason for this is we are initializing the slot manager to be 4, regardless of their data. So if they have data or not, it will be 4 slots. And here we do not check anything to know, oh my god, where is the inventory? Okay. And we don't check anything to make sure we only add the widget for the valid slots. So let's do that. And let's get this, break this. Data is valid. is valid, basically. So we only want to add the slot if there is a valid weapon inside that slot. Remember, the slots can be there no matter what. That's why there are slots. And let's go ahead and do this time. So you notice it's going to be only one because we only have the fist, which has valid data, right? And you notice we added a delay. This delay is not a consistent way. It's basically a wrong thing. You will never do this. Instead, you make sure this is only called this update slots when the inventory is changing. So that's why we added a delegate on inventory changing. So the inventory change it is going to give you the same data you need. You can break this, get the slots, and update this, right? And we need this to be construct. So the difference for this time is anytime the inventory is changing, this is going to be called, and this will remove the existing children and iterate over the slots. For any slot with a valid data, we'll make a new widget and then sets the data to the widget. To prove this, we have one. If I press 9, which will going to add another weapon into the one inventory, you see the UI is changing. But unfortunately, the data is not updating. So let's quickly do that. Okay, so remember we added this update or set data for each widget we make, and we pass the slot data. Let's go here, and you see we are not doing anything. So the first thing we can do is go to the fist, click on it, and just go to the text or the name, right click, and then you can bind this. The reason you don't have any binding is because you are not storing this. So promote this to a variable, and let's say slot data. So the moment you do that, you can come back here, you can set slot weapon, display name, right? And then for the fist, we also want to update that, so we're just going to get this, and we say set brush from soft texture. Soft texture is basically means a soft object of type texture. So we can get this, break is valid. Just make sure we have another security check here. And then image, display image, and then connect the display image to that part. And when you do that, and we play, you see we have normal, and when I add 9, okay, just click 9, you see I have pistol now. And it's very good, isn't it? And now if I click 0, I have rifle. So it's not respecting my data and displays them on the screen. But you notice you don't have any clue what is the active weapon. So you now have the rifle, you have the pistol, you have the normal, but there is no indicator to tell you which one is active. But we do have the data for that. Remember, we do have is active on the slot. So let's go into do that. We can do this in many ways, but the real way I want to do this is basically just fade out a bit this, you see? And then for those who are not active, and basically make the background more white for those who are more active. Best way to do this is, of course, animations. So we're gonna say anim underscore active. That's all you need to do. So inside anim active, we need more information, or we need to basically animate this. So the first thing I want to animate is the this truck slot size box, and then render opacity. So basically this means we are going from normal to active. The active state is going to be just 1, but the normal one I just want to be, or the weapon when not selected, I want to be 0.4 is just 2. Yeah, 0.5 is just fine. The other thing I want to change is the background. Let's add that as well. BG. Then we want to have the color. I need the tint color. Let's see if I can access this color called tint. It's a part of the brush, so I don't think we can do that. Yeah, so I'm thinking we just have another image back there. It's too slow. Alright, yeah, I guess we can just keep it this way. It's just, yeah, it can be a good indicator. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to get back here, custom event, and then we are going to have show underscore hide or activate slot. The activate slot will just go into take in a boolean, be active, promote this currently active. Yeah, since we are removing and making the widget anytime, so yeah, we don't have to store that actually. Just need to have this and see run a branch here. And then play animation forward. If we want to activate this, and then play animation backwards. Or reverse if it's false. And when we set the data, we can have a sequence here. The second sequence is just going to active slot, and we call this function. We can have this inside the same set data. But maybe we get to do some modifications to this and play a node called play animation and with finish event, which basically is latent. It cannot be placed inside functions. Maybe we use that later. Okay, so now let's add 9. You see now the pistol is grayed out. When I switch the pistol, you see how this kind of nice animation we have. The animation is actually not very good. Let's go and play with the opacity to 2.3. Let's go ahead and do that. Yep. Yeah, this should be better instant because so we can switch to the weapon and we have a response to that in the UI. You notice the new weapons are we can have some sort of indicators for the keys we want them to be used in the UI as well. But I guess that's fine. So now we have an indicator for the weapons. More weapon we have, more we can just the slot will basically increase to adapt to that change. We can also have this in a horizontal space as well. So that's definitely I want to try it. So let's replace this list with a horizontal list. And let's make some adjustments here. So we want this to be actually flexible. So clear children. They don't have a base class, so that's why you add children. Oh, it's still vertical box. Surprise. As I said, this is actually not a correct way. We should iterate over the current slots and just update them, but for now I guess that will be fine. Okay, so we also need to back here, padding. We need the same padding for right. So we need that for left and right. No, I guess we just have some padding in the right. Okay. And let me add some default size here for the height. It will be this 140. Alright, so it's something like this. We add weapon. It will increase to the sides. Yeah, I guess the side is better. It's big still, so it's occupying a big portion of the screen. But I guess that's fine. Okay, I don't want to spend more time on the UI, so I guess that is fine. So it's perfectly working.